All right. So in case you didn't get enough last week of Too Sexy, we got more for you. All right.
I'm trying to figure out what was that thing they're doing at the beginning.
I don't know what it is, but I've always loved it. It's like a whack. Yeah, it's like, I don't know what it
Sharpening
is.
a whip or a knife or something like that.
I don't know. But we are week 35 of What Did Prince Do This Week in 1984? We got Real Line of DJ first in the chat. Yes, Prince and the Revolution rehearsal vibe of the system. You Are in My System remains one of my favorites indeed. We got Cassandra Bradley from the ATL. And Cassandra says, nah, Realign the DJ. Now that song is stuck in my head. And we got Good Morning from Denver from Nick Felden. We got Detroit in the house. What's up, Andre Staley?
You know, this song kind of gives me time rehearsing Apollonia 6 vibes, you know, in the warehouse. This is like the other scene when Prince came in, they was doing this. With Jerome with the light shade.
Yeah.
And you see the kid walking in. What you doing here? Come on, let's go. Was that when Jelly Bean grabbed the kid from behind? Kid spun around and clocked Jelly Bean. Man, we didn't get that. They cut that part out.
They cut that part out. Man. But I am so thrilled, Michael, that you pointed out the slapping of the lampshade. That's the moment that I wait for every single time I watch that scene. While everybody else is looking at, you know, the ladies, I'm looking at the
going that lampshade.
Yes.
Just the way that the little things go. Yeah, serious.
Yeah, that's right. And we have Christina from Minneapolis. Happy Labor Day weekend. That's right. Happy Labor Day. And we got Melvin Rush II. Spending joy because at my gig today on the set is the Beautiful Ones and Baby I'm a Star. And we got KMS 1984, Purple Saints from the ATL. And we have TP. We got our timekeeper Kim. Christina knows what's up. And then we have Monk in the house. We got Kenneth, who also knows what's up. And we got Man Ray 10. Hello to all of the Too Sexy purple peeps out there.
Yes.
There. And we got Anna B. We got Laura from Romania. Thanks for being here. And we have Sister Cheryl. Yeah, this is my favorite parts. Sexy.
Puerto Rican Day Parade or something.
I love that though when those congas come in. Oh my God. We got El DeBar getting my outdoor gardening in, multitasking from Ireland. That's what's up.
International.
Yeah, we are. Clusterfest. What's Clusterfest? I don't know about is crab clusters? You gotta school me. I don't know about Clusterfest.
You thought it wasn't.
right. Prince was into, but loving it. Loving
Yeah.
it. Oh.
So supposedly Prince wasn't involved, but
Oh,
that's what the word
spirit
is out
went
on
through
the,
it.
yeah, the spirit. That's right. And Kenneth says we got 2 more days left to wear white. Is that true? I know people do that, but yes. And that's the way it ends, Kenneth. That's the way it ends. That's part of the track. And we got Letitia, thank you so much from Maryland. We got JD Washington in the house with their symbol coffee cup. Loving that avatar that you got for us. We got Karan, Peace Purple Fam. We got Nick Felden. And no worries. I'm a little slow sometimes with the jokes. So it's my fault. Thank you so much for being humorous. All right, D68A. What up, folks? Howdy. Thank you for that howdy. I'm a howdy person. And yes, every day is a day to wear purple. That's right. And we got Audra in the house, also back from today is a gardening day. Also, we got 2 people gardening back in, planting some rosemary and basil.
Audra, are you out there with your garden like what was the mom on Baby Boy? She had her garden.
Yeah.
She had her garden when she sat out there with a little drink. I feel it, man.
Yeah.
A little space.
Dragon Con. Okay, Dragon Con, Georgia football, Black Pride, and House in the Park. Oh my God. Yes, that will bode not very well for traffic in the ATL for sure.
So cluster F for real.
Yes.
Now we get it.
Yes. And we got Raywin in the house, and we got Budding Anarchist. You haven't been here in a while, at least live, unless I missed you. Thank you so much for being here. And then we got, I think it's Levine. I apologize if I'm not saying it correctly. And we got Dr. Claw in the house. That's what's up. Purple Saturday. Love those bars. I don't know if you guys saw on Twitter, there was this after club, after hours club like festivities and a juicy crab that could only happen in Atlanta. It was crunk. So it warmed my heart because those kinds of things only happen in the ATL and at Waffle House. But it's great to see it at the Juicy Crab as well. We got Olga, we got Lisa, we got Lori. Thank you so much for being here. Oh, wow. That's what's up, Raywin. Just finished watching Under the Cherry Moon, my favorite Prince movie. Also my favorite Prince movie. Oh, and Cassandra said that ATL had the Love Sexy dance party on Thursday night that I attended. I'm sure that was also crunk. And
two things. First of all, you missed the Love Sexy button.
Oh, yeah. That's true.
Absolutely. Number 2, and you used it twice. Did you say crunk?
Yes. It's an ATL thing, Michael. When of the ATL,
like maybe 5 years ago, but
no, it was crunk. But trust me, if you see the clip, I'll send it to you. It was crunk. Trust me. Yes. Let's see. So many people. We got Rodney. Hi, Rodney. Yes, someone said Under the Cherry Moon. And we got H. Williams from Blackpool, UK. Thank you so much for being with us again today. And let's see. Oh, I love this. My favorite version of Prince on film was Under the Cherry Moon. My favorite version of Prince on film was also Under the Cherry Moon. Love that. Thank you so much for that, Dr. Claw. Also love this comment. I'm actually awake and aware this Saturday.
I feel you, Lisa.
I'm also with you as well. And I'm not into sports, but for those of you who may be, Audra is telling us that Georgia and Clemson are playing today in Atlanta. So I'm sure that's exciting for some of you, not for me. We got Tanja. I'm sorry. I'm reading Kim's comment. It was not crunk, D'Angela. It's 2024.
Lord.
And let's
That's
see.
how we when we get older, we'll start to do the slang the kids used to say back in the day. We think it's still pop, Now, at least you didn't say, that was slamming.
Oh my God.
Oh,
At least I didn't say that's what's up. Because I think that's older than
that's
crunk.
that's newer, but
No, that's what's up. It's that's been around since like the early 2000s. So or
All right,
before. So yeah. Okay, let's see what D68A is talking about. 34th anniversary of the Tokyo 90 concert. Put a full version up the other day. That's what's up. I will definitely add that to the playlist because that is one of my favorite concerts. Obviously, we're talking about the new tour. Oh, and we got a traffic is a nightmare in Atlanta. With also construction. So that's a lot. And yes, Karan, recovering from classroom set. Shout out to all the teachers and educators. That's right, Karan.
Right on.
Neat. All right, so let's get into our housekeeping really quickly. And someday I'll learn how to use StreamYard, but not today. Okay, week 35 of What Did Prince Do This Week? It's a very, very slow read of Duane Tudahl's Prince Studio Sessions book series through an interactive weekly online book club and Saturday salon, echoing the spirit of the Harlem Renaissance. We are here every Saturday at noon Eastern time, and we're going week to week, not date to date. You can follow the detailed schedule with this QR code or bit.ly link. You do not need the expanded edition. But this is what we are reading. And look at that. We are getting really close to the end, everybody. Look at that bookmark. Very close to the end. We still got a ways to go, but almost there. And we got Kenneth saying that on August 31st, 1983, Pink Cashmere was released as a single. Yeah.
How do people just have these? I mean, like super fan. Like I'm like, yeah, August something was Pink Cashmere came out. All right.
I think that's wonderful. We got to have them because every day is a Prince anniversary. In fact, most days
much as he did.
Yeah, are usually multiple. And I just don't try because you would just spend every day chasing down what's the anniversary for today. But I'm very happy that Anna B is inspired to watch Under the Cherry Moon. It's always a great day to watch Under the Cherry Moon, and today is one of them. And Olga is agreeing with Karan that it was a week. And Kenneth says, also the date the MPG released the song together.
All right.
Right. Kenneth said they cheated and got the information from Prince Vault.
Oh, okay.
That is correct. We got to give a shout out to Prince Vault because on Prince Vault's front page, you can always see the anniversaries of the day.
Gotcha.
So a quick way to do it. So yes, indeed. All right. And then these will be archived at Polished Solid as well as at MDean. Please subscribe, like, and help spread the word for What Did Prince Do This Week, because we're going to be sliding into year 3 very soon. And it would be nice to have more people with us so that we can talk about Parade and the Sign of the Times era. And look at that. So we are very excited. And to be honest, the whole reason why I'm doing this book club is so that we can actually get to this book. So I hope that you'll continue to spread the word about our little book club. All right. And if I can find my mouse, our hashtag is WDPDTW for What Did Prince Do This Week? And this is our disclaimer. It's an independent endeavor. Thank you so much, Lisa, for having the hashtag correct. I really, really, really love that. And Budding Anarchist says that there's a good take on Purple Rain film on Ringer Movies. I don't know about Ringer Movies. You have to tell us a little bit more about that or give us a link. And D68A says, was at the Paris 93 concert when the MPG CD and CDs went on sale mid-concert. I wonder how many people like left where they were, on the floor to go grab
Oh, he's
CD.
saying that they went on sale mid concert in the middle. I thought he was saying the concert was a mid concert. Like, got it. I'm slow.
It's okay.
It was crunk. It was crunk.
Yes. Okay. So we started off the show with this crunk song. I'm sorry. Called Too Sexy, which is the B-side of the Belle of St. Mark. And again, we're week 35, episode number 86. And we got some parade love. Yes, from Audria for sure. And this week is going to be a little light. There are 0 new songs and 0 studio visits. And so you'll see on Thursday, there was some mixing of Too Sexy, and supposedly Prince was not in the studio. We don't know that for sure, but that's what Duane thinks. And then on Friday was the official release of Sex Shooter, the single. And then there are a rehearsal and another song that I couldn't include in that little square. And yes, Too Sexy is a banger. That is correct, Dr. Claw. All right, so we're going to start our reading for today. Michael, if you don't mind starting, even though Celie read this last week, but we need to read it again for those who were not with us. And we're going to turn to page 396, everyone, to read about Too Sexy. So Michael Dean, take it away.
All right. Thursday, August 30th, 1984. Too Sexy. Mix. Sunset Sound Studio 3. 12:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. Booked, locked out. Producer Sheila E. Artist Sheila E. Engineer Peggy Mac. Leonard. Peggy Mac Leonard. This is a quote from Sheila E. I consider myself a musician much more than I consider myself a female pop vocalist or whatever it is they call me. And I saw a picture recently, yesterday, just side note, and it was a picture of Sheila, Michael Jackson, and Janet, I believe. But it was like back in the day. It's just interesting. Like, I remind myself how much Sheila E. was already in the game.
Oh, yeah.
Before we get to this point. Celie.
Yeah, we just want to say salute to Celie for joining us.
Pastor came late to church. He was back there ministrating to one of the lost ones. All right. It is unclear whether Prince attended this session. His name signature is absent on the daily work order for this mixing session, and there has been no verification that he participated, although any mix for one of his artists would eventually have to be approved by him. So even if he didn't attend the session, he would have been given a cassette tape for review and for his notes. Sheila E. was listed as producer, and she signed her name at the bottom of the sheet, exercising another of her talents by writing her signature backwards as if she was signing her name in the reflection of a mirror. 2 C60 tapes were created from this session. Peggy McCreary was married earlier in the month and is credited as Peggy Mac McCreary. Peggy Mac and Peggy Leonard interchangeably on studio documents. They are all the same engineer.
All right. So we talked a lot about Too Sexy last week, and I think, but in Anarchist, I think you're referring to Too Sexy. We actually played it at the top of the hour. So if you go and rewind, which is also an old school term because nobody does that anymore either.
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, but if you rewind to the beginning, you can actually hear Too Sexy. So that's interesting. I don't hear Brothers Johnson, but let me know like the tune from Brothers Johnson that you hear in Too Sexy, and maybe it will appear. Anything else you guys want to say about Too Sexy before we move on to our next reading?
I got a general question. How am I sound? Right? Am I good?
You're great.
and I may be presumptuous, so you guys can correct me, because I will admit that I'm not a person who listens to a whole lot of instrumental. Like I do enter music through the lyrics. But songs like Too Sexy, Six, what he was doing on the Parade album. Can you think about a pop artist? Now I know that term gets skewed because we know at one time jazz was pop, and then another time, but other than a random kind of instrumental that would be a pop hit, something like Green Onions, and then later you'd have some other things. I can't think of. Can y'all think of other, like, who were known as pop artists who were regularly doing this time, including instrumentals in a way that they could be heard, right? Not just buried on the album somewhere. And I think that's a credit. I don't want to say I want to give Prince a lot of credit for that, but I do think that that's also a part of his musicianship. That songs like, and even though we know, credit is given to She Lee for having written Too Sexy, but I think him creating the atmosphere where she talks about, I'm not a pop artist, I'm a musician. And she clearly didn't have that fear of losing her musician status. I don't know if guys, I know that like a lot of time the band for Motown, right? At Motown at its heyday, they were a bunch of jazz musicians who kind of didn't, I'm not gonna say they looked down on the stuff they were playing for Motown, but they were kind of like, we're gonna go up in here and fix it. Like, we're gonna go up in here and make it real music. And so I just want to say, what do y'all think about these kind of songs being included on different places? Is Prince kind of widening what we think of as the pop genre?
Well, I'll answer the first part of the question. I don't know of any other artists doing that, but then I may have a limited view as well. I think with Prince, I think it's a part of him being a musician, able to do that. I think probably from the music that was popular during his sort of youth and stuff, you heard instrumentals was all the time. They were popular songs, right? Like that was just the thing. We always had instrumental songs. So I think that's a part of his lineage of what he's doing. But my curious thing is, as much as he seemed to be doing that in my eyes, how much of it was noticed by people outside of the bubble, though? That's, because that's when you'll play these songs and the people are like, I didn't know he put that out. I was like, yeah, it was on the B-side or it was on the album. So I love that he did it, but I don't know of other artists to do it. But then again, I don't know of other artists who could do it but decided, I'm not putting that out. Like, I can't sell that, so why use the space to do that? That would be my take on it.
One thing I will say, though, during this period, you could, while the songs were not recorded as instrumentals per se, if you were in the 12-inch culture, you could get a lot of songs as instrumentals. And that's actually what I look forward to, because unlike you, Celie, I love instrumentals. In fact, I sometimes prefer listening to music without any vocals. And that's one of the reasons why I personally love Andre 3000's latest album, New Blue Sun, because there's no vocals. It's just nothing but instrumental. And that's when I was in school, meaning when I was in college, I used to study to a lot of instrumental music. And then when I started working, I used to listen to a lot of drum and bass and jungle because they often didn't have any lyrics. Some of them did. So I also, I enter music through the music. So I like being able to focus on the instruments and not have the vocals on top. So, we've had this conversation, like you come in on the lyrics, I actually come in through the music, and sometimes I don't even get to the lyrics until decades later. Like, I don't know what they're talking about or saying. So it's just really interesting how you can enter music from different places and spaces. But yeah, I mean, Prince never really got the credit. I mean, because like Bud and Anarchist, and Michael talked about this last week. I call it Alexa de Paris or Paris. It's like such an amazing tune. And in real time, only the Prince fans really talked about that tune. Right. It wasn't like, the critics and stuff were saying, look at this depth that Prince has as a musician. And like, that wasn't happening. And, so I think that's, it happened, for several reasons, as we've come to find, especially with, the publisher of Rolling Stone showing their true self recently. So it makes a lot of sense. But then there are also a lot of purists, we talk often about the jazz police, but there's also the classical police because, Alexa is going over into like the classical music lane a little bit. So Prince, because he was really a fusion artist, right? Fusion artists normally really don't get the credit that they deserve because, of the purists and things of that nature. So, yeah.
And I just want to make the note because I see what is it, D68A had put in the chat. There was a lot of rock and roll instrumentals in the 50s and 60s. Yeah, that was my point, though, that after Green Onions, it started to tail off. So that was really my point, was that prior to the 80s, instrumentals were really normal. Like, it wasn't unnormal to see a instrumental in the top 10. And then as you get into the 80s and 90s, they started to wane. And that's why I was asking that as they began to wane in the 80s and 90s, was Prince. I saw Prince. I'm glad somebody put Ray Parker Jr. in the chat, because Ray Parker Jr. does not get the credit he should get as a songwriter. Despite the fact he ripped off the Ghostbusters song, we're not going to deal with that. But yeah. You haven't heard that story?
Maybe I did. I don't want to hear that story.
Okay, I won't ruin your childhood about that. Just think Huey Lewis in the news. That's all I say.
Okay, I have heard this before.
Yeah. So that was my point. D68A was that going into the 80s and 90s, not a lot of people were doing it. And I was just wondering if anybody else other than Prince was kind of doing it. That's it. I said.
I will throw two recommendations though, if you want some cool instrumental albums. To me, actually, Dr. Dre's 2001 was released as an instrumental album. Dope, just to hear the beats and stuff. And then Raphael Sadiq's second solo album, Ray. There's an instrumental version of that, which I think is dope too.
Okay,
like the whole album. I would something I could see, like, would be kind of cool if they could put out Prince instrumental versions of his albums.
I would love that.
That would be dope.
That would be dope. And while we're talking about instrumental records, because we talked about the Foreign Exchange and Nicolay, who's a part of our Purple family, the instrumental version of Connected, which is celebrating 20 years, is incredible. So you just hear Nicolay's production on Connected. And there's a couple comments in here. Yeah, the Sananda interview with Questlove is really good. We actually talked about this last week, and we've been talking about it several times on What Did Prince Do This Week. But it never hurts to say it again in case someone is watching this for the first time. It's a really good interview. And if you don't know who Sananda is, he used to go by TTD, also known as Terrence Trent D'Arby. So that's for certain. And then Panic Survivor, the 3000 video that is now available, actually was on his website when his album dropped last year, and then they took it off. So it's nice that they've put it back up so that people can watch it. And actually it was, you could see it in certain theaters. Like I know they showed it in, showed it in New York at a theater, and it's a really great thing to watch if you haven't seen it. It's literally Andre listening to his own album, which is kind of, I wish Prince we had video of Prince listening to his own album. I think that would be pretty awesome. But you can actually see Andre listening to his own album. Yes, it was definitely in IMAX. And because Tanja saw it, I wish I could have seen that in IMAX. That would have been absolutely amazing. And I'm blanking on the director's name. His name is Terrence. Why am I blanking on his name? but he's a really amazing director. And I'm sure Tanja helped me out on the director's name of somebody. And then we got D. Hello, lovelies. Hello, lovely. I would love Prince instrumentals too. Haven't listened to those a lot myself, but it would help with my constant efforts to encourage parents to play Prince for their babies. That is right. Like, that's a nice introduction to Prince. You know, if you go through. Yes. Thank you so much, Kenneth. It's Terrence Malick. And he's an amazing director. He actually has a series on HBO that you should check out. And yes.
Tricky Dean.
Pork sausage.
Pork sausage out. Hey.
Yeah. Yes. Lying on the floor, lighting a candle. Yep. That's Andre. Yep. So I'll stop talking about Andre, but I won't stop talking about it because that album has been the album that I go to when I'm experiencing anxiety, and it calms me down. Now, there used to be another album that I listened to for probably 15 years by this guy named John Hassel, and the name of the album is Last Night the Moon Came Dropping Its Clothes on the Floor or on the Street. I can't remember if it's floor or street. And that used to be my go-to, and it's a purely instrumental album since we're talking about instrumentals. Really, really love John Hassel. He passed several years ago. He is a disciple of Miles Davis, so he was a trumpet player, jazz, but very esoteric. But now it seems like Andre's New Blue Sun is my go-to for anxiety. And I love putting on that video in particular because I had ripped it before they took it off. I'm so happy that it's now back up so that other people can experience it because it is very, very calming.
I'm gonna have to go look the title of that album up to see, because that's a poetic title. So I'm gonna have to see if that's a epigraph from a poem or something that he liked, or if he made that up himself, because I really love the image of that title.
I think he made it up himself because I have to find it for you. He used to have like a manifesto of how to create art.
Oh, okay.
And he was very much into wordplay. Like he came from that William Burroughs, like cut up school, where you cut up the language. So I'm sure he probably did. But I'll definitely find that link because I think it's pretty brilliant. It reminds me a lot, if we want to connect it back to Prince, if you follow Mono Neon also have artistic manifestos, and Mono Neon is actually in the third version of that manifesto. And it's actually quite different if you go from Art Manifesto 1 and Art Manifesto 2 to Art Manifesto 3, and how it has transformed over those 3 iterations. Is really interesting.
Cool. And
Carol says, anxiety, try John Coltrane's After the Rain. I definitely will. I mean, so speaking of, we're in this instrumental vein. That's one of the reasons why I love jazz as well. So I have a lot of John Coltrane. I have a lot of Alice Coltrane, which I also love. And Lee Morgan is my main jazz guy. But there's Pharoah Sanders. I mean, we can go on, and Charlie Parker. I mean, we can just go on and on and on. There's so many great jazz musicians and instrumentals that can take you to different places and spaces in your mind. So, Steely, if you don't mind, we're going to transition to our next reading, which is page 397, Friday, August 31st.
Revolution at Rehearsal?
Yep.
Hold on to me. Oh, my goodness. All right. Live to track, basic tracking, Prince theme from Purple Rain, output to tape, Flying Cloud Drive Warehouse, Eden Prairie, Minnesota, producer Prince, artist Prince and the Revolution, engineers Robert Cubby, Cubby Colby, Susan Rogers, and Rick Hawkeye Hingridson. Let's give it up for MASH. We would be challenged daily. I want to do this song. He'd come in and start the riff, and we'd all know it. The band would learn the song. It was up to me after the band was done to stay back and listen to it really closely and learn the reverse gating. Yeah. around drums, or what? Actually, hold on 1 second. Let me wipe my glasses. It's a little bit more. I'm sorry. Let me just wipe my glasses quickly. Hopefully
Let's
that's
see get exposed that he actually don't know how to read, but he
right. There you go.
Yes, that'd be a genius right there.
What's that old Eddie Murphy joke? It's the Flash. It's the Flash. Give me a second. It's the Flash. It's the
I only made it to the 3rd grade.
There you go. Wrote that big ass book and can't read.
You got books out.
And listen to it really closely and learn the reverse gating sound on the drums, or what echo and reverb was being used on his voice. I would get all that program in, so the next day at rehearsal, it even sounded better than the first day, and they learned it. That's covered.
That's actually very
Revolution. We're working hard on the new music.
Hold on a second. So what did you want to say,
I
Mike?
was just saying that's kind of very interesting. I mean, if you think about what he's saying, like they would play the stuff, and when we hear it, we always, when he's the reverse gate, that all the way the drums sound. But it's interesting to hear like they would be playing and they don't hear that, like they didn't. But when they come back the next day, he's added all that, and it would sound sort of the way it sounds on those records. So that's interesting.
Prince and the Revolution were working hard on new music, but also getting the band tight for the upcoming tour. That sort of dedication can be draining, but the results were clear to everyone involved, as Lisa recalls. Quote from Lisa: "We rehearsed every day, all day. There was a rhythm to recording, touring, rehearsing, recording, touring, rehearsing, and so depending on which part of the rhythm we were in, we were either rehearsing, writing songs all day, or we'd be running a set over and over again. But it would be 10 in the morning till 10 at night, and just all day. We break for lunch and maybe a dinner. I don't know what to compare it to, really. It's like working out. It's like going to the gym. We rehearse not only music, but body language and how you use your bodies and moving and choreography. And these were a lot of that went into it. So it was a total mind-body workout. That's in Lisa's quote. Prince's schedule demanded that everyone be available at any time. Quote, he figured if he gave you a paycheck, that meant he kind of owned you, end quote, revealed Susan Rogers. Quote, he owned you lock, stock, and barrel. You're his 24/7, and that's an agreement I was all too willing to accept. I mean, where else would I rather be? Opportunity to record a song with Prince, or I don't know, go bowling or something. No, I'll take Prince. Thank you very much, end quote. Love that quote. Give Susan credit on that quote. According to Covey, that sort of dedication is a unifying quality that everyone around Prince possessed. Quote, it circles back to the whole idea of his work ethic. If he was going to work that hard every day, he certainly was going to surround himself with the people that were going to contribute to work the hardest, end quote. It was fairly common for Prince to record a jam session for future reference. The track being rehearsed for this date is unknown. The second item on the tape was called Prince Theme from Purple Rain. But since the movie had already been released, it is likely just an output of sections of the movie score. Status. Revolution at rehearsal remains unheard. It is unclear if Prince Theme from Purple Rain is simply an incorrectly labeled version of God Love Theme from Purple Rain, or the band jamming on a riff from that score. It is also unreleased.
All right. So one thing that stands out to me is going back to that quote from Lisa, and I don't know why, but I looked at the interview that we did with Andre Simone. Well, actually, they were doing the live commentary of the Ritz show, the Prince Ritz show in New York City, and it was Vernon Reid asked Andre if they rehearse all of the moves separately, and Andre responded, "No, man, we were doing all that at the same time," meaning learning how to play the song, all the moves and everything all together. And I think that's really interesting because, as far as I know, like looking at footage of Janet Jackson, she always does like different rehearsals with her dancers, and Madonna with her dancers. So it's just really interesting that Prince took a more holistic view, because if you think of like that MPG rehearsal footage from around Diamonds and Pearls that Scott McCullough shot, you could just tell that they were always doing everything at the same time. Like it was just kind of like run through after run through. And I never, until I went back and watched that, which was literally last week, and now reading this quote from Lisa, it just reminds me that Prince just didn't do things the way most people did. And like, this is one of them. And I know this isn't an aside, I always wanted to learn how to play the drums, but I could never coordinate all, like my arms and my legs at the same time. I could do the arms and I could do my legs, but I could just not do them together. And there's no way that you're going to learn how to play the drums if you're going to segment, like you're practicing. Like it has to be a holistic experience. So yeah.
Yeah, just to harp on what you were saying, I found that part where she's talked about working on the body language, so interesting, because you can see, the fluidity, I suppose, of Prince's movements as they sort of through the years, on these different tours. And one of the things that always stood out for me, I think it's the some of the rehearsal footage that sort of has leaked out, and then what music video shows a lot of the Revolution rehearsal footage?
Nothing compares to you.
Yeah.
And I just like the way, you see them, they're practicing those dances. I think the move that you see in the When Doves Cry video, and it was always just was like, man, it was such a upgrade in Prince's dancing, even from 1999 to Purple Rain era, and you can see the band actually becoming a lot more fluid as well. And I just think that's a part of Prince that doesn't get highlighted enough, like the way he moves. By the time, I always remember this, I remember seeing the Sign of the Times for the first time, and I was like, the way he was moving, hey, I didn't really seen him move like that before, looking at Syracuse or some of the parade stuff, but just the way he started moving, I was like, wow, this guy, you could see like he was a dancer, like he just kind of had a dancer's kind of, vibe about it. And I always thought that was so interesting. Like, was he just spending a lot of time in front of the mirror or watching videos of himself, I suppose, and seeing how he moves, when his stance, he sort of mastered the iconic sort of poses and stances, right? Like, and that's just as incredible as the music to me, that he understood the visual and like, okay, you stand right there, you're over here, this person's there, I'm gonna have that there, and then I'm gonna be like this, the wind's gonna be blowing me, you know what I'm saying? I got the outfit is cut, my fit is gonna look like this with the light. I mean, just really understood all of that visual too, that just plays so much into what made Prince. So I love that she mentions that in.
I want to agree with both of y'all, and I want to say yes and so especially everything you talked about Prince being conscious of it. The and that I want to add, I'm gonna start it a different way and try to get back another way. So I grew up in the Delta, in the heart of the blues. I grew up around traveling bands, performing bands. Also, half of the musicians I knew were also athletes. And yeah, for the bands, rehearsal for bands were really no different than practice for athletes. So in my teen years, I knew at least 5 or 6 different bands. Those bands went 100-mile-an-hour in rehearsal. Like those bands that I knew, they were sweating. They would sweat down to their drawers when they leave rehearsal. And I don't know if that was because half of them also had an athletic mentality And so if you're an athlete, myself, I was a mediocre 3-sport athlete, emphasis on the mediocre, not the 3-part. But as a mediocre 3-sport athlete, you didn't leave practice unless you would sweat down to your undergarments. And the musicians that I know, so I'm not saying that, I want to be clear, I'm not saying that Prince wasn't unique in that. He was clearly unique in his being conscious of the look and the presentation of it. But I also think that that's also part of just the tradition, particularly of R&B funk bands, where you know you're going to be given a full-on show. I think about a band like Cameo. Cameo was one of the hardest dancing bands I've ever seen in my life. Now, don't go see Cameo now because you're going to feel really bad. But if you got to see Cameo like I did in the 70s and 80s, Cameo was like one of the hardest dancing bands I've ever seen. So I think, yes, Prince was singular in his focus and singular in that. But I think also he was coming from a tradition where rehearsal was 100%, where they rehearsed just like they perform. And I think that, and I'll end on this. Remember, and I gotta find what's the person who does those, the Sonic 22. One of my favorite quotes from the Sonic 22 is Jerome said he never had a problem with the way Prince ran his camp because he was an athlete. Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna forever think that the people who came into Prince's camp, who had a background in athletics, they had less of a problem with the way Prince ran things because they were used to doing that in how they did it. That's it. I'll shut up.
So one thing I just want to make one more point that I think is really important. So, I mean, obviously, Prince as a dancer improved over the years, right? So, you know, if you think about Dirty Mind, where he was mimicking some of Mick Jagger moves, you can talk about James Brown and Michael Jackson, you know, how he performed on stage. But by Purple Rain, I mean, Prince was really masterful in terms of his movements and sort of claimed his own movements with a little James Brown sprinkled in. And but by the time you get to what I call the TDK era,
right,
you know, of the Game Boys, Prince was dancing his butt off because, you know, Tony, Damon, and Kirk were pushing him. I think probably. So, and also we can't forget about Cat, because Cat and Prince's interactions in terms of movement has never been duplicated. I think it's so beautiful the way they were just, their bodies were very synergistic in terms of how they moved on stage together. But TDK in particular, Prince was dancing his butt off, playing his butt off, still keeping his breath. He was never out of breath. Yes, he sweated a little bit, but not much, you know, even though he was dancing his butt off. But I don't think that TDK really get enough credit in terms of how much they pushed Prince. And based on the rehearsal footage that we've seen, it's still, even though some of those dance moves were really complicated when it came to TDK, like, and very acrobatic, it seems like they were still doing those dance rehearsals in context of the concert rehearsal. Because I'm sure that TDK maybe did rehearsals separately.
Yeah.
I think I read something like that. But in terms of Prince coming into whatever TDK were doing, it seems like Prince always did. So I think, you know, if I ever got an opportunity to speak to TDK, one of them, I would actually ask that question. Did they ever have any separate rehearsals with Prince for just dancing, or was it always in the context of a rehearsal? I would be curious. So,
and I think Jill said to you that Prince tried one time to incorporate her as a dancer, and his heel got caught on her stockings, and that was the end of Jill as a dancer. I was like, I so pray that there's a bootleg of that somewhere.
Yes, I remember that. I can't remember if it was a stocking or something, but yeah, definitely a heel got hooked on something. Yeah, for sure.
I was lastly just to say, and the funny thing about it, Prince was the guy who started dances, like, right, like he gave y'all the walk,
right,
the bird, like, you know, wooden leg. So that was a part of his repertoire. Like, I got a new dance. Y'all want to, that was it. The Honey Pony.
Yes.
But Brother Dean, I think that's really important for you to mention that. And I talk about that when I got into talking about the Jughead piece, was that Prince came out of the Black culture of line dancing, right? I mean, like you said, the walk, the bird, the horny pony. I mean, that's what you did as a funk band. You made up dances, right? And in Dr. Bolton's a book, Groove Theory. If you don't have Dr. Bolton's book, Groove Theory, it's a great book. He actually talks to the jazz musicians who talked about that they would also play. People think that dancers came and danced based on the music. And he said that jazz musicians would play based on the dancers, that they would see how people were dancing and kind of rearrange their groove. So it was a circular relationship. And I think that's what dance doesn't get enough of the kudos for what it really represents for the culture. It wasn't just the dancers being inspired by the music. Many times the musicians was actually being inspired by the dancers and then seeing what can I come up with to mimic what they were doing. I'll shut up.
I love this comment from Zakia. Love his love for bizarre performance with Sheila E. And I'm going to keep saying this. That Romance 1600, it really needs to be released on Blu-ray or on streaming services, because it's Prince. I mean, I think that everything that Prince is in, and that is such an iconic performance alongside Sheila. I think it would be really, really awesome.
Yeah, we're not gonna leave without shouting out the original, but Jerome Wally Brooks. Like,
yes, sir.
They was doing that.
Yes.
The new Famous Flames.
Yes. All right. So thank you, Timekeeper. But we don't have a lot this week, even though I have a lot in the music and Prince section. So our final reading for the day is I'll Do It. It's Friday, August 31st, 1984. Sex Shooter is released as the first single from the Apollonia 6 album. It would peak at number 85 on the Billboard 100 chart and number 19 on the Billboard Black Singles charts. I don't know why it didn't go number 1 on the Black Singles chart, because I think it's pretty amazing. But this is one of my favorite 12 inches, because something that I love about this era of Prince releases is just like the color that was affiliated with each record. So during this era, the Time had that yellow, Apollonia 6 had like this magenta, Sheila E had like that light blue, and then obviously Prince had purple. And then you can see that you got the long version on here, 6 minutes and 45 seconds, and the B-side was in a Spanish villa. And then at the bottom, you obviously have produced by Apollonia 6 and the Star Company with the original Warner Brothers logo. So I love this comment from Tricky Dings, pork sausage, Brother Brooks coming around with a bucket of squirrel meat. And we still don't know what squirrel meat is, because I've asked a couple of people and haven't got any definitive answers. Go ahead, Celie.
Being from the country and having had squirrel.
I
ain't had squirrel. I had squirrel. You from the country, you'd had squirrel.
Yep.
And rabbit and frog legs and possum. I mean,
okay, but I didn't go that far. I didn't get to this frog legs and possum, but I
had squirrel. I'd had fried squirrel, covered squirrel, smothered squirrel, grilled squirrel, baked squirrel. So when he said it in the movie, Brother Dean, all us Mississippi jumped up and said, "Squirrel meats, baby." It was on the one.
Down south.
Oh my God.
Lord.
Yeah. All right.
It's just like she.
Look at Karan's image. Look at Karan.
Y'all want to eat?
That's all right, Karan. You're gonna be hungry later. That's all that's gonna be left. You're gonna go to bed hungry, Karan.
Yep. Because they ain't cooking nothing else. They ain't waiting.
That's right. Tell again, Brother D. We ain't cooking nothing else. You gonna eat this and go to bed hungry.
Oh my God. So D is asking, is possum tasty?
I mean, look here. when you don't know no better, hell yeah. But I mean, I ain't gonna sit here and lie to you.
I don't prefer this shit.
Look. Let me say this to y'all. And we'll move this quickly. And Prof Duff gonna kind of know what I mean. If you're from the South, the real deal is for the people cooking these things. It really has to do if the cook can cook the game out of it. Because I'm gonna say something, and just quickly, and Prof Duff, you tell me. So out of all those things, Brother Dean, that I've had, squirrel, rabbit, possum, frog legs, rabbit was much more of a regular delicacy. But here's the thing about rabbit. And I've had all those other things. Prof Duff, I couldn't get into rabbit. The only reason I couldn't get into rabbit is because no matter how they made the rabbit, I could always taste the game in it. Like you could do the hog. If it wasn't fresh hog, like if it wasn't fresh sausage, fresh bacon, you didn't taste the game. And for those of you who don't know, if you don't know what I mean when I say taste the game in it, it's gonna be hard for me to describe what I mean.
I know what you're talking about.
It's a look at put it to you this way, Brother Dean. It tastes like they just killed it out back and brought it to the table. That's what we mean when we say you can still taste the game. It's extra fresh. So that's the only thing about that. There you go. That's the only thing. And I never had that problem with deer. I want to throw deer in there. I've had deer sausage, deer patties, deer sticks. So I've had all that. So it really has to do with who's cooking it and how they're making it.
Yeah. And we got a plus from Audra. Frog legs are good if seasoned right. And then
good. Let me find out all this teriyaki is something else. I didn't know, so it was jamming. We didn't know it was right.
Hey, if we ever get Brother Dean down to Mississippi, I'll go trick him and tell him we're going out. And there's a spot around the corner of me. It's called the Big Frog. I'm going to even tell him where we're going. I just go pull up. You can go see the Big Frog.
I don't need to know what it is. If it's jamming, I'll eat it. If it's good, I'm with it. Get some hot sauce. I'm good.
All right. And so Dr. Claus says, my cousin from Memphis thought he was fooling me with venison burgers once. I already knew that game taste. That's right. All right. So we're at the end of the What Did Prince Do This Week portion. And again, there were no new songs or studio visits. So I'm actually going to just go through all this real quick. And let's get to our music break. I went to go see Corey Henry on Saturday. And it was amazing for a couple of reasons. Number one, the band that opened for him are called Everything Yes. There's some youngins, but they were amazing. They played like jazz fusion. I actually have an entire show, not the show I saw, but I found one that I would highly recommend that you check out. They're actually from Sealy. They're from North Carolina. Oh, so wow. I was like shocked because they're young. They're like they look like they're in their 20s, possibly 30s, early 30s, but they were holding it down. But the surprise. Do you know
any church musicians?
That's a good. I think that the guy who was playing the keyboards, that was one thing that I was going to look up. Was he from the church? Because I think he was from the church.
Because if they're young, they fly from the church then.
Yeah. I'm quite sure he was from the church for sure, and I'm sure the others were too. But the keyboardists in particular, they are really, really amazing. So it was so great to see a young band playing their instruments like crazy from the South. So I was like really surprised. But so I was waiting for Corey to play this song that I love off of his last album, one of his last albums called Operation Funk, called The Fool, because it's a Prince song, because he uses like a lindrum like sound, and he starts it, and I was getting all excited. Oh my God, he's about to go into The Fool. This is the song I came for. And what does he do? He goes into Prince's America. And I was like, no way. And so I was so excited to hear someone cover Prince's America. And it was like extraordinary. And at first I thought, oh, he's just going to play a little snippet and then go into The Fool. But no, he played the whole song. He didn't play all 25 minutes of it, but he went into the whole song. He played like 4 minutes of it almost. And on the Groovement 71 channel. You can watch it. So I have this in the playlist. And again, if you go to our website and click on the bookclub.polisol.com, click on any of the images that usually takes you places, and you can hear America. Amazing, amazing performance.
I was gonna say, if you already subscribed to Groovement 71, you got the notifications. I got my notification the other day when it got posted. So get on Groovement 71 and get your notifications.
That's right. That's right. Yep. Subscribe, hit like, and all that kind of good stuff. There are always some really great shows on there. And I was very, very excited about America. So when he played America, I was like, there's no way he's going to play the full, but he did play the full. So that's going to be posted in the playlist. And you can also hear the original of the full. He has another song that's very Princey called The Line that he didn't play, but he normally does like a segue from one to the other. So I posted those in there. So, and I tried to get you guys to go to the Corey Henry show. I've been talking about it, and I didn't see not one Prince fan in the house that I knew at Corey's show. So you guys missed out on hearing a live version of America, which was amazing. But you can at least watch the video. Oh, that's amazing. Zakia, you actually went. That's so awesome. So there were two in Atlanta. So did he play America in Atlanta? I'm curious. That would be awesome. Let's see. Yes. Hey, Ricky. Yes, we hope that you are recovering well. We miss you so much. And yes, we definitely want to support real music by real musicians. And
hey brother Rick, love you, bro.
Get your rest, man.
Yep, for sure. And then I love that Jesse, hi Jesse, has America. That's the song to cover. That's right. Jesse gets it. Jesse understands why I'm so excited. I was like, of all the songs you can cover, he covered America. And what was great is that actually when Prince passed and I started seeing Corey Henry, he would cover Controversy often and like DMSR. So like I had never heard him do that for America. So that was really great. And Dee, we got some prayers for strong health coming your way, Ricky. And we got Blade Brown. Take care, Ricky, and wishing you well. That's right. Oh, that's so amazing. So he also did America in Atlanta. That's really fantastic. And
did he do the part with boom in the bomb?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So the next show that I went to was on Tuesday. And so you're going to have to bear with me on this because I'm still at this show. It was so amazing. It was a benefit concert for the guitarist Ronnie Drayton, who passed several years ago, but it was for his son. And Living Color was there and they performed. My band, 24/7 Spies, was there. They did an incredible version of John Connolly's Theory, which is also in the playlist. And Burnt Sugar, which was Greg Tate's Burnt Sugar Orchestra was there, which was Greg Tate's band, and Vernon Reed of Living Color led it. And then there was Bernard Fowler from the Rolling Stones. Eddie Martinez, who I had never heard of until the show, is like a living legend.
Yeah, that's Ron DMC Rockbox, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I love that dude. Yeah, I'm okay. And I'm glad you said, because you know you never know if somebody's still around or not, because when they're back in the day. So I'm glad that brother still. Yes, that was and again, tangent. Because of him, I never understood why Ron DMC covered Walk This Way, because I was like, yeah, they already did that, and they did it better. Like I really thought that Rockbox and what was the other one he played? He played on Rockbox and King of Rock, right? Yeah,
I'm not sure, but
yeah, but I know he's on Rockbox. Yeah, so Eddie Martinez was like one of those, guitar players of colors back in the early '80s that I just really, really loved. Man, he was on a lot of different stuff. And, so I never thought he got his prop. And I always felt some kind of way that the Walk This Way blew up and was hailed as this very revolutionary kind of song. And they had it wasn't like, I don't think it was like 2 albums earlier, 1 album earlier, you had Rockbox, And again, this is not, I tell people, listen, the chord progression, the musicality of it, I just really felt like that brother didn't get his due. So I said, so I'm glad that you mentioned that he was there and that people were digging him and giving him some love. So thank you for that. I'll shut up.
I mean, he's an extraordinary. I mean, he was playing almost throughout the entire show with all of the players, and everyone gave him so much respect because, like you said, he's been in the game for a long time. And I was like, oh my God, how did I not know? But then I found out. But in the same with Bernard Fowler, who also sings for the Rolling Stones. It's like I had never heard of him, but like he was amazing. So the show was like really, really fantastic. Okay, one day I'll learn how to use it. So also, again, Grooming71 has posted like my favorite part of the show, which was 24/7 Spies. I'm a massive 24/7 Spies fan. They're like a black rock, metal, jazz, soul group. And John Connolly's Theory is from their second album, which is my favorite 24/7 album, called Gumbo Millennium. And then they also played a song called Face the Day. And then they also played another song called Jungle Boogie, which was a cover of Kool and the Gang.
Jungle Boogie, Jungle Boogie, Jungle Boogie. All right, that's enough.
Yes, that's the doom 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 doom.
Okay, Prop Duff. Okay. I'm gonna be controversial for a minute. I'm gonna put you on the spot. Okay. Kool and the Gang before JT, or Kool and the Gang after JT. Which one you riding for?
Before.
I knew you was gonna say that because it was more instrumental. I knew it. See, Brother Dean, all them old heads, like, hey, they wasn't playing no music after JT. All that damn singing, all that damn pop R&B love singing. What happened to the funk jazz group of Kool and the Gang?
Yeah, I'm rocking with the JT era though, but I acknowledge that the before was dope as hell.
I only rock with the JT era for one reason. That damn song Misled. That's my jam. Oh, that Misled. If JT didn't have Misled, I may have to go with the pre, but that Misled is my jam.
For me, it's get down on it. Come on.
Yes, sir.
Ladies' night.
What are you gonna do if you really don't want to dance? Standing
I
on
get a
the
cover of that
wall.
song once.
Get your back up off the wall. Come on, man.
Yeah, it was cold, man. Of course, it's
Kim, you ain't right, Kim.
Joanna, man, we'll turn this whole show into something.
Welcome to What Did Kool and the Gang Do This Week?
Right. Special edition.
Yeah. And Blade Brown asked, Doobie Brothers before Michael McDonald, or after?
Hilarious.
See, you gonna get me going back to What's Happening. I'm trying to see what Michael McDonald on the What's Happening episode. Michael McDonald, taking it to the streets. Taking it to the streets. I'm sorry. All right.
Michael McDonald don't get the. We need to have a special Michael McDonald award that we give to cats like John B. Robin Thicke. Bruno. He's like you get the Michael McDonald award, or it would be the Hall and Oates award. One of them two. Like they're the ones that
actually though you have to go back to the Righteous Brothers.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to go back to the Righteous. But I get what you're saying. That Michael McDonald doesn't get his props for Blue Eye Soul in the way that other people do. I'm with you on that. Michael McDonald don't get his props.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. Regulator. I mean, shit. There's a whole rap built.
I'm still amazed that people didn't know that Bobby Caldwell was white till he died. Like I still couldn't believe that people were like, that dude white. I'm like, really? Y'all didn't know that?
Yeah, he's cold too. Yeah, he's cold.
All right. So then Living Color played a cover of the Band of Gypsies / Jimi Hendrix, in case you don't know who the Band of Gypsies are. Power Soul Machine Gun, which was incredible, as well as their own incendiary hit, Cult of Personality, that never gets old. So I really enjoyed that. And that's also in the accompanying playlist. And last but definitely not least, the one and only Nona Hendrix.
I sweat, 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 I sweat. Come on, no sweat. I sweat. Did she sweat?
No, she didn't sweat.
Oh, she didn't sweat.
She was amazing. She did. I don't know if you guys remember this song from the mid 80s called Transformation. And it was so amazing seeing her watch it. And she is 79 years old. 79. And her stage presence was so magnificent. She was moving like I can't even move in my 50s at 79. So it was such an amazing thing. I love this. Dee says, I can't go for that award.
I like that, D.
Yes, that's nice. And then we got Blue Eye Soul Awards. Okay, we got people who knows all about Transformation. I love that. Yes, Transformation is a jam. So if you want to watch it live from Nona Hendrix, it is in the playlist.
And once again,
I just saw that. I can't go for that award. Hilarious.
And look at this one.
Yamobi.
Up and over.
Oh, man.
Yes, Nona Hendrix, for those of you who don't know, was in the legendary LaBelle alongside Patti LaBelle and Sarah Dash. So if you haven't heard of LaBelle, actually listen to their music. Today would be a good day to start because you're missing out on some really good music.
And listen to the whole, go all the way back to the Bluebells and come all the way up. Go all the way back to the trend. Got to go from the doo-wop to the funk. Got to get it all in there.
Doo-wop, man.
It's a transformation. Thank you, Celie, for getting that because I'm a little slow sometimes. Okay, so we've been talking about Layla. It's really important. You know, Layla is touring around. So tonight, Layla is going to be in Houston, and then the next date will be in Sacramento, California, and she will be making her way to Detroit, Chicago, New York, DC, Atlanta, LA, Seattle, Portland. So make sure you support her if you can. And yes, Prince wrote Baby Go Go.
I sweat, 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 I sweat.
She did not perform that that night. So yes, and I love this from Lisa LaBelle and New Birth Forebearers of Space Age Funk.
Amen.
Yes. And also I'm trying to the chat is moving so fast that I'm not clicking on the comments I want, but Transformation might be my favorite Nona Hendrix song from Man Ray 10. So, and yes, we got a great album from Layla because Layla has a new album out called Vanta Black. And what Kim is saying, in Atlanta, Layla and Maxwell concerts are on the same night. I know who I would choose. I would go with Layla. That's my personal opinion. But I know there's a lot, and it's not because I don't love Maxwell, but it's a long story. And then, yes. All right. So, again, Bilal has an album coming out very soon. He has a single out called Sunshine that's in the playlist. I love this song. I hope you check it out. And he will be going on tour as well. I always try to support Bilal when I can. He's on fire this year because he already released one album live at the Glass House earlier this year, and now he's about to release a studio album. And then obviously we've been talking about Andre 3000 earlier in this episode, so we want to support him because he's coming to the Brooklyn Academy of Music, also known as BAM, for Next Wave. And in the purple world, I noticed in the chat, some people are sending well wishes and prayers to Jeremiah, and formerly known as Dr. Funkenberry. And we just want to definitely give support and all the love on hopefully a recovery from cancer.
Man. Yeah, let me just say, I can't even imagine what that must feel like, but man, dude, just please, whatever it needs to be to get this brother back where he needs to be, let's make that happen. But man, I'm just praying and wishing that he can get through this quickly too.
We love you, Brother Freed. We appreciate everything you have done.
Yeah.
And we'll continue to do. Purple love, purple kisses, purple hugs, brother. We love you. No greater words can be said. We know it's gonna happen. You're gonna pull through.
Yep.
Yeah.
You still got a long way to go, brother.
That's it. There you go. Hold on to yourself.
For the third run.
There you go.
Indeed. So definitely keep Jeremiah in your prayers and thoughts because it's a journey. So again, one day I'll learn how to use StreamYard. And then Sheila E. has been added to the Morris Day performance, which is actually a charity event for a foundation. I guess, I don't know what NN stands for, but NN Foundation charity event. And Sheila has been added. And so it will not only be Morris Day and the Time and the MPG, but also now Sheila E., which is really exciting, on Friday, September 27th, 2024 at Paisley Park, which is awesome.
Nice.
Can I also say that I learned a lot? I did not know much about Ricky Freeze until he did the interview, I think on Funkatopia. And I did not know this brother has a lot of writing credits, a lot of recording credits. He worked with what's the brother who was the big writer to come out of the Silvers? He was the main writer, came out of the group the Silvers.
Leon?
What is it?
Leon Silvers?
Yeah, Leon wrote with Leon Silvers. Was over there, I think, with Solar, I think, for a minute, and had some credit. I just didn't have any clue of the pedigree and the background that Ricky Freeze has. And of course, the one that he did laugh about, he also, I think, wrote some stuff on that Daisies album, which I had the cassette of the Daisies. That Daisy's album that
Morris Day.
Yeah, Morris Day with the girls. And so they had a little laugh about that. And for those of y'all who don't have that Daisy's album or cassette, let's just say I use it for comic relief and we'll move on. But saying that to say that I did not know that Ricky Freeze had that kind of pedigree and just talent and resume. So props to brother Ricky Freeze.
And Blake Brand has in here Foster for Foster Silvers. So I know Foster Silvers did production. I know Leon Silvers did production. Right. I don't know, it kind of goes down to the Mizell brothers. Everybody knows about the Mizell brothers. I don't know, who did what because,
right.
So one of those Silvers brothers. And then Christina saying, glad to see Sheila was added. Sheila and Paisley working things out. And then Purple Cat Confetti says cancer is a beast. It affects everyone differently. I'm glad. I'm assuming Jeremiah is getting treatment. Unless you meant something different, please let me know. All right. And then let's see. Today is not the day. So there's a lot in the company playlist for this week. I'm going to be adding a lot more from our conversations today. And yes, Morris is definitely feeling love in Minneapolis after Celebration and the Taste of Minneapolis. And so we also got Leon. That's the thing. It's it's Leon or Foster. So right. Again, I know Leon and I know Foster probably did some productions as well. It's the brothers. And so if you want to check out some of the songs and a lot of the live footage that I was talking about, and then some of the originals of those live songs that I talked about from those two concerts I went to, that would be really great. And next week, we will be reading pages 399 to 401 for week 36 of What Did Prince Do This Week. And next week, we'll continue to talk about Mo Too Sexy, about a remix for Bella St. Mark's, some more mixing of Too Sexy, a new song that didn't have a title, some basic tracking. Duane writes about Prince joining Sheila on stage for a Cleveland, Ohio show. And then on Friday, if I remember correctly, Sugar Walls is released, which is one of my favorite Prince productions of all time. So we're going to talk about that. And also, it's not the single, but the album "A Private Heaven" is released, which Sugar Walls is on that album. So that was the album release date. And
Come
then,
inside my sugar wall. Oh, let me take it down. You never been. Let me take it down.
I don't know about that.
Rare form.
Okay, speaking of Sugar Wall, since we'll talk about this a little bit, and thinking of Sex Shooter, just in terms of like the drum programming, they always sort of reminded me of one another. Like with the, with Sex Shooter is that, like the cymbal thing. Hopefully you guys know what I'm talking about. That do kind of thing. And then with Sugar Walls, like the shaker thing. So I always like when I think of one, I think of the other. And then they also begin with S, but that's a whole nother thing.
What do you guys think of, like, what was the Sheena Easton before Sugar Walls? Was she seen more as like a pop?
Yeah.
Prince? I don't know if Prince is the word, but
Princess.
Yep.
What did she have before that? Was this before her? Did she do a James Bond song?
No, but I think she was Morning Train. She already had Morning Train before.
I think Morning Train came out before.
Okay.
Yeah. See, so Morning Train. Yeah, my baby works from 9 to 5. Takes them on. Yeah. So she was a basic European pop star and good girl, and it was kind of scandalous that she got with him.
Right. Yeah, and to have that type of song, would it be kind of like, again, they're not on the same career per se, but sort of perception? Would it be like if a Taylor Swift got a song from, I don't know who has like the most kind of crazy songs,
right?
It was Future or something, and it became a big hit, and it was the WAP song of the time. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a very sort of sexual sort of thing.
I like what Andre said. She was like the next Olivia Newton-John.
Okay,
yeah.
If y'all know who that is,
right there you go. How many people are old enough to know who Olivia Newton-John is? Put in the chat. Are you old enough to know who Olivia Newton-John is? And did you know Olivia Newton-John before Grease? That's the other thing. Did you know who she was before Grease?
So For Your Eyes Only, which was a James Bond soundtrack, was 81, and then Morning Train was also 81.
Okay.
So it was definitely before Sugar Walls.
Right.
And then she came back with, I don't remember only because I never listened to her. I remember the song, but I can only imagine what it must have felt like for her fans to be like, yo, what the hell is this?
Yeah, that was some chatter. In fact, I remember, was it Ebony that had the article where he supposedly had bought her an apartment or something, which I thought was like stupid because it was like at that time I was really into the music, so only reason I remember that because I hated when articles added that stuff. Like I didn't want to hear about him buying somebody an apartment. Like that space you could have been talking about the music. So that's the only reason I hated it. It was like, come on, man, can I hear about the next song or the next whatever? But I do remember them talking about that, and they were kind of floating it out there that there may have been an item and how scandalous it was. So I think I remember that from that Ebony article.
And I love this comment from Kim because Sheena Easton did go more towards R&B production after Sugar Walls. So I think they were trying to broaden her base. I don't know.
Xanadu. Don't act like y'all didn't watch the movie. Go and hear that song. Don't act like you didn't go through. Don't act like y'all don't know that movie. It ain't just me.
I never saw Xanadu.
I never saw it. I see the box at the bottom shelf of Blockbuster, but I wasn't picking that one up.
Look at Miles Marshall Lewis. 101 just won't do. Yep. Because so Prince also produced 101. Like I never understood. Well, I actually had this conversation with someone, and they were like, why? But the thing is, I never understood the fascination of him working with her based on her voice. But that's my bias.
That was that Duran Duran money. Let's call it what it was.
There you go. There you go.
That's that Duran Duran money.
Yes. I love this coming from Lee Christian 101 by Sheena is great. Prince minimalist electro spookiness. All right. So Marilyn saying didn't see Xanadu, but love the soundtrack music. Who was on the soundtrack? See, Lee, I know you know.
Oh my God. See, if you wouldn't have asked me, all I can tell you couldn't escape that damn soundtrack. I can tell you that. The songs on that soundtrack was everywhere. There you go, Purple Cat Confetti. Hopelessly devoted to you. And now it is I, hopelessly devoted to you. And you.
Okay.
Hopelessly devoted. Don't act like y'all win that Grease.
Oh no, I'm with you. I'm with you.
Oh my God, I forgot that. So that is a Grease song, "Hopelessly Devoted."
Yeah, that's a Grease song.
I only saw Grease when it came out, like in the 70s, right? When didn't it come out in the late 70s?
Yeah, like 78, 79, somewhere in there.
I was 8 years old, so there you go. That's the time I saw that.
I saw Grease 1 and 2. I mean, I used to know all the songs on Grease 1 and Grease 2.
Wow. I know Grease 1 heavy. Grease 2, I couldn't get into it. My sister, she's 10 years younger. She loves that better than regular.
The jam from Grease 2 was Cool Rider. I want a cool rider. A cool rider. All right, that's enough.
Okay. I know nothing about Grease 2. And Billy Brown said that song, "We Are Magic," forget the title, is fire. Okay. All right. So I think this is a great way to end. The impromptu performances today are most deaf legendary. My heart is happy. And Ricky is saying loved Grease 2. So okay, yes, Grease 1 and 2. There's a lot of Grease 2 love. And Andre is loving that energy, Celie. That's right.
Okay, so I gotta say one last thing. Is Brother Jesse still in the chat? Because I gotta admit something. Now, Jesse's name is Jesse, and you would think, Brother Dean, that with Jesse's name being Jesse, every time I think of his name, I would think about something from Jesse Johnson, right? You would think that when I see Jesse's name, when I see Jesse in the chat, you would think I would be recalled from something from Jesse Johnson. But that's not what comes to mind. Whenever I see Brother Jesse in the chat, you know what comes to my mind?
What's that?
Jesse is a friend. No, he's been a good friend of mine. But now something's changing. It's hard to define. Jesse's got himself a girl, and I want to make it mine. I wish that I had Jesse's girl.
Not the Rick Springfield.
Okay, Celie. I'm so happy that you brought up Jesse Johnson because I knew it was something I was forgetting. So in the playlist, there is a 24/7 Spies cover of a Jeff Lee Johnson song called Jungle. And I stumbled across the video today. And at the beginning of this video, there were a couple images of Jesse Johnson in this Jeff Lee Johnson video. And I was like, what Jesse doing in here? But it turned out that Jesse played the first guitar solo in this song of many solos because Jimmy Hazel did a solo, Vernon Reid does a solo, Eddie Martinez does a solo, and Rick Skater does a bass solo. And so Jesse was the first solo on this cover. They did a tribute to Jeff Lee Johnson when he passed. And Jeff Lee Johnson, if you don't know, he was also an amazing guitarist who often would tour with Rochelle Farrell. That's when I saw Jeff Lee Johnson, when he was touring with Rochelle Farrell. So that is also in the playlist. If you want a little Jesse solo with some 24/7 Spies, a little Living Color and all of that, that's there too. So thank you. There was a reason. There's always, everything happens for a reason. So Michael Dean, take us out so we can let it be done.
Well, shout out to Rick Springfield. Shout out to Jesse's girl. Now I'm going to go back and listen to that. Man, Celie, you had me rolling today. I love it. I love it. Thank you to everybody in the chat. Thank you, everybody who's watching this replay later. Salute to Ricky. Hope you get well. And Dr. Funkenberry. Yo, work it like a job. We'll see you next time. Peace.
Peace.